Well, friends, this is one of those years where we get an opportunity to celebrate an individual who has made a tremendous impact and a contribution to our university. And I am talking about the one and only Dr. Murle Mordy. This year, we will be celebrating his 50th year anniversary of distinguished service to our great university. And folks, we want to do this in style. We want to do this in a manner that is well and befitting of somebody who has become a legend to us. So I'm hoping that you would join us as we celebrate this and that you would participate as we put together either an event and some fundraising around this event, so we're able to establish a scholarship that can fund something that's close and dear to Dr. Mordy's heart, which is international students. So I want to thank you in advance, and I'm looking forward to your participation. God bless you.
International students realize the value of knowing another language. Since back home, students often know several languages already, and especially in Europe, helping them communicate with neighboring countries. I recall a group of Iranian students who wanted me to teach them French even on a Friday night, when most students would not want to meet then. I never had much time to interact with the international students I advised academically in my early years. Outside the office, I spent most of my time helping them as they planned activities for the Whole Earth Club. That's our international club. They were so creative, designing floats for the homecoming parade that OU used to participate in on Main Street, or decorating the second floor of the Mowbray Union for our international dances, preparing their dishes for the international dinner and international dessert night, or entertaining the campus during the coffee houses the club sponsored. International students taught me the importance of listening during a conversation. It's far more important to listen to the other person rather than dominate the conversation by talking about yourself. One of our prior Japanese students noted that we Americans lack restraint. We always talk about ourselves. In the Japanese culture, speech is silver, silence is golden. This is what is called interaction management in books on cultural communication. I have learned myself that I need to wait longer before responding, giving the other person more time to respond. Speaking up too soon in the Japanese culture can be seen as offensive. One student who's become a close friend once told me one of his instructors that he admired me because of my patience and flexibility. Another student taught me the importance of being optimistic, greeting the international students first thing in the morning with a smile and positive disposition. One morning, as I met this student in the former union, I was downcast, didn't smile, and only muttered a few words to the student. But later that day, that student told me how I left him sad all day because I was not bubbly as I usually am. I learned that the international student expected positive reactions from the American students. The international students expected the American students to greet them on the sidewalk on their way to class, but often the American students didn't say much, or maybe nothing on their way to class. Well, the international students told me that they felt ignored. I explained that the American students most likely were in a hurry. They didn't mean any disrespect. At times, the international students gathered in small groups in front of the old union, talking in their native language. They were tired of speaking English all the time. They just wanted to converse in their own language, feel relaxed. But the American students thought the international students didn't want to socialize with them. I had to encourage the international students to continue to speak English and reach out to the American students. With more international students mixing with American students on our varsity sports teams today, I think both groups are socializing better than the last few years. I've learned to respect the international students' culture and to recognize and respect the cultural differences. It is important to note what foods, for example, are not eaten in another culture and to respect those differences. The student may not eat beef or pork. The student may be vegetarian. The definition of friend may be different. I'm amused myself by unsolicited letters I receive in the mail addressed to Dear Friend. I don't know that person at all, and he and she doesn't know me. How could they address me as a friend? An acquaintance, perhaps, in some cases. But one has to develop a friendship over time, as some of the students, international students, have taught me. A true friend will help out in any way possible, lay down his life for that person, share personal thoughts. But this friendship develops over time. Let me give you another example. It was Thanksgiving Day, late afternoon. I opened the door of my apartment to find a group of students, maybe 5 or 6 of them, who had just returned to Ottawa after visiting other students at a nearby university. They were hungry, and they were surprised that all the restaurants in Ottawa, even the grocery stores, were closed. What to do? Well, I checked my refrigerator, noticing I had some eggs. They had some eggs also. They brought back with them. So we put our food together to have a meal. I don't recall what else we shared. The point is, I didn't send them away just because there wasn't much food in my refrigerator and that I wasn't expecting them for dinner. I invited them into my apartment as they expected me to do what they would do back home if someone came to their house and needed something to eat. I have learned other cultural differences from students who've come from large metropolitan cities. For example, their concept of space. They've had to adjust to living in a small town or, quote, village, as some of them have described Ottawa. They've been amazed to see so many homes with space between the houses. They were so used to tall apartment buildings and crowded apartments. They found it strange also that the town was so quiet by 9 p.m. They were used to cities bustling with activity to wee hours in the morning. They also missed the cafes, especially the terrace cafes, where they could visit and study. These students display a good work ethic and work hard when they have a chance to get a campus job. I have found the majority of the students to be friendly, kind, open-minded, sincere, and appreciative of the help they receive.